So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our transit video of Jupiter for all the air signs Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And as always, if you don't know where this Jupiter is transiting, along with all your slots details and my consultations, check out the links here, Astrology.com, where you'll find my books, reports, and consultation. And especially my Maghavit Astrology Academy, where I'm doing marriage course, especially we are right now on D3 chart, which reveals the true character of your spouse and the wealth factor through marriage. It's the most important chart. Do not jump to Navamsha before jumping to or stopping by Dreshkan. And you can see the feedbacks on my academy with the charts that I do. Because there I am raw. I tell you exactly how it is. So, and also remember, I have a Jupiter reading activated right now on my website, especially Jupiter transit in Cancer. So this way I can show you exactly what Jupiter is going to be doing, especially based upon the planets that are sitting in your chart. Okay, so that is on my website as well, kirasastrology.com. Let's start with Gemini. Gemini will have Jupiter in the second house in Cancer. Saturn is transiting into the 10th house in Pisces, while Ketu is in the third house in Leo. Now, one thing you will see, right now Gemini has to be careful, okay, at least till December of this year, which is pretty much the whole year. Do not get into any kind of a religious quarrel, belief system quarrels with your neighbors, number one, with your colleagues. Siblings, fine. You can have whatever conflict with siblings. Everybody has conflict with siblings because, again, there's something with blood relations that no matter what political conflict or religious conflict you have, you always come together. Friendships can sometimes definitely break most of the time. And yes, siblings, friendships, and relationship can break for life, but it always keep pushing to making it work. There's some connection with the blood. Okay. So one thing you got to understand, religious conflicts can occur. You can make some sarcastic comment with a colleague, with a neighbor, and that will start. So stay away. And I'm telling you, you will have some conflict. Maybe you will forget to, like in US, okay, we put our trash out. The truck comes in, takes through the robotic arm, take your trash and leaves. And sometimes neighbors will complain if you don't take your trash can back into your garage after even 2 days, day and a half. And if you leave that accidentally and now your neighbor complains and then you find out that the neighbor complained, you want to be careful of that. And the other thing, you will notice, especially when you are trying to professionally have a conversation, especially a call, any kind of a call, email, text messages, they will deal with cuts. They will suddenly get cut. Or your communication will create a barrier between you and the other person. So, for example, Jupiter is humor. You got to understand, Jupiter is humor. And when Jupiter is at its highest state, okay, Jupiter can become very humorous and sarcastic with its speech. Don't think that Jupiter in the second house, a person becomes a priest and just only will do really nice talk. Have you seen Gordon Ramsay? Gordon Ramsay, I think he has exalted Jupiter in the second house. I'm sure you have seen him yell and scream. Because Jupiter is at its highest state. And you got to understand that Jupiter is connected to which? Vamana avatar. Right? And Vamana avatar is a very clever avatar. He looks innocent, but he's very clever. He'll take everything away from you. So this is why don't think Jupiter is a strategist who, through their humor, innocent, and priestly quality, suddenly takes. This is why people who create cults, religious leaders, they will have a very strong Jupiter because they have that magnetic force to conquer people. So here what happens is with Jupiter in the second, one becomes extremely humorous. And now that Ketu in the third house, while Saturn is the planet of profession, is in the 10th house in the sign of Jupiter, while Jupiter aspects the 10th house, your humor will create conflicts in work. Don't say something where you can suddenly be fired. Why? Because third house is sixth from the 10th house. Okay, and you cannot look at Jupiter by itself this year. There is this trine. Okay, the other thing, because of that double transit of Jupiter upon the 10th house, you will see naturally there's going to be great advancements for Gemini ascendant people. And yes, you can use this for Moon as well. If Moon is in the sign of Gemini, you can see that. We can see promotion, and you will see if you are running through your 26, 31, 34, 45th year, you will, I don't even need to see your chart, you will find advancements this year. Now don't come and say, oh no, you said this and I got fired. Well, yeah, maybe you got fired. But you would 5 years from now will say, my God, if I didn't get fired in 2026 and then I didn't take this on, I wouldn't be here today. Can you imagine if I just kept working? Always, never ever be depressed, sad, or desperate when you lose some job, when you lose some opportunity, because you do not know where it's going to be leading you. But one thing we see here, because Saturn is in the 10th, with aspect of Jupiter, a lot of repetitive work actually helps you. Repetitive work will help you, and you must chase some goal. You will see when you have a goal in mind, not just that, okay, I'm waking up, taking my coffee, going into a train, and then going to work, and then, like being a salary man, like in Japan. There's no aim. You're just doing it. But once you have an aim that you want to chase, like this year, like Gemini ascendant, should be like, by October or by September, I need to make to this position. And be realistic about it, because Saturn is in the 10th house. Don't be like, if you're just started from a company, my goal is to become a CEO of this company by October. Good luck. Unless Vaman Avatar blesses you and helps you, yeah, nothing is happening. But if you make a goal that by October, I want to actually be the team leader, I want to be the leader of this meeting. Once you set that goal, okay, and you start chasing that goal, your achievement starts accelerating. You will also see this is the period where Gemini ascendant naturally becomes a foodie. Okay, and are you going to be focused on sattvic food, rajasic food, or tamasic food? Depends on who Jupiter is going over, which I'll make a video on. Who's Jupiter is going over? Because if Jupiter, let's say, is going over, let's say you have Mars in the second house, Jupiter goes over. You think Jupiter is going to make your Mars suddenly sattvic? No, it's telling Mars, here, take my blessings and go eat more meat. Okay, go eat more rajasic and tamasic foods. Go eat a lot of fried and spicy foods. Before you were always taking medium chili. Now when Jupiter is very close to that Mars's degree, like, here, take that, habanero. Take that Carolina Reaper chili now. Instead of, why are you eating, one day a week this fried food? Make it 4 days a week. Fried food, go eat. See, so don't think that Jupiter, when it goes over a planet or impacts a planet in the second house, that is now making that planet pure and sattvic. No, Jupiter says, I'm expanding your quality. Once you understand this part, you can literally make predictions of transit very, very accurately. Okay. At the same time, because of that Jupiter being in the second house of wealth, money, family, okay, and Ketu's in the third house, remember, do not get attached to the things that you own, and do not get attached to the approval of a family. Like my family needs to see me like this. My family must accept me like this. Leave it. Become like Vishaka. Remember, I just made a video with Eve on Vishaka. Neither be on this side, neither be on that side. This is your Shushana Nadi. And once you do this, you will see nothing will bother. Okay. Because naturally you will see as soon as, like I would say, August comes into play. Or actually no, September. Let September come in. Once September comes in, you will see many Gemini ascendant people, okay, they get detached. They feel detached. Like many will just be like, I don't care to work. I don't care to please anything. I don't care to please anyone. I don't care to be pleasant in my speech anymore. Like you will see, if certain Gemini haven't had certain type of awakening in their life. Okay. This particular Jupiter, when it closer to that degree of going towards Cancer or going towards Leo, while Saturn is also trying from that transiting Jupiter, they will not care about what they say and how they say it, because Jupiter becomes careful. It's a strategist. Okay. But here Jupiter, with Ketu coming closer to that edge, that boundary, you become direct and straightforward because you have had it pretending to be something. That pretentiousness of exalted Jupiter goes away. Because naturally Saturn is in the 10th house. Ketu in the 3rd house is cutting through that true essence of Jupiter inside. So you're cutting the Vamana avatar and actually seeing Brihaspati inside, Jupiter inside. So such people become direct, straightforward. They're like, I cannot take your pretentious politeness. I cannot be polite anymore in the meeting. Like you will see, Gemini Ascendant will speak in the middle of the meeting saying, why are we doing these useless meetings 3 times a week when we should be working on this project and doing this? And they wouldn't even care if they get fired. Because once you reach that particular point, you feel invigorated. There's freedom. Jupiter Ketu is freedom. And it's freedom from pretentiousness. They're the most real people. And there's freedom that happens with Jupiter and Ketu. Like I said, as soon as September comes in, you will see the type of freedom I'm talking about here is that a person is free from chasing things, is free from pretending to be something, is free from falsifying something for other people. Meaning, remember, if you see Jupiter Ketu person in real life, on their first date, they will say, stop putting so much makeup on. You don't look that good. And this is why Jupiter Ketu people can be single for a long time or can get divorced, because the truth is what cuts through the essence and BS in life. Okay, and especially because Ketu is coming closer to Jupiter. For Gemini Ascendant or Moon, past life money comes in abundance. Somehow, and well, I shouldn't say the abundance for everybody, but you will see something that is owed to you from past life suddenly is given to you without doing anything. Because remember, what is Ketu? Like, for example, if you look at Ketu and Venus. Ketu Venus represents blind money. Like, these people don't even know how money comes in my life. It just comes in. Unknown sources. They can't explain it to you. So with Jupiter and Ketu, these people don't stop caring about money. They don't care what they have, and suddenly they can get, a Mercedes G-Wagon in front of them. Oh, okay, whatever. They'll get suddenly a big chunk of amount comes in front of them because the debt is owed to Jupiter, because you helped somebody in past life, or you helped multiple people in past life. That's what happens. But I am going to make a separate video on Jupiter Ketu. Now, if we look at Libra Ascendant, Okay, so for Libra, Jupiter is going to be in the 10th house. Okay. Saturn is going to be in the, I believe, in the 6th house. Yeah. And Ketu is in the 11th house. So the first thing with Libra, what we see here, is that if now this is something not with younger couple, but you could if you have teenagers, kids in your 20s and 30s, you will see you will deal with religious difference with your children. You will deal with conflicts and differences of opinion with your children. This is also the period that there is going to be a lot of opportunities that comes in your work, okay, related to you teaching something and counseling something. Like you will be asked, I don't care if you're a lawyer or something, you will train. This year you will train. Before even November, I would say, you'll be asked to train. Many Libra people will be thinking of switching to a profession related to teaching, counseling, advising. But during this particular period, okay, optimism, hopefulness is going to be very high, but don't make it go too high. Don't be one of those people who like tend to get a reading from me and say, I need to know if I'm going to be a billionaire. That's what I want to be. And I'm just like, automatically, I know, no. So don't be that high. Because the practical Saturn is in the 6th house of work. It's in the Artha house of work. And Saturn is telling Jupiter, don't be so optimistic. Because Jupiter becomes very optimistic in the 10th house. Because Jupiter, and again, I can make a whole new video of why Jupiter becomes debilitated, second from its sign of Sagittarius. Because in 10th house is debilitated. One thing you will see with this particular Jupiter is that the optimism is there. Like even if Libra person loses their job, they'll be like, I know I'm going to find something. Now, as long as they can be that realistic, that works. But if a Libra person says, that's okay, I'm going to get a job that's going to pay me $1 million a year now. Let's go for it. That's where you have to be practical so you don't get disappointed. Okay, the other thing you will see, your speech matters. You will see you will be able to create something with your speech. Your speech creates your wealth. See, I didn't say that with Gemini. Jupiter is in the 2nd. You already have the speech that is creating something. But here you must create. Why? Because the 5th aspect of Jupiter is in the 2nd house. Okay? And 5th aspect is an aspect of children. Meaning this is why Jupiter is given a significance of children. Because the 5th aspect is creating of children. It's a creative process. It's a romantic process. So you will see when Jupiter is in the 10th, these people must create their wealth through their speech and their, vocal skills. And this is something you're going to have to learn, the art of speech. You will see that in your promotion interview, what you say truly matters. What you say may actually give you from 10% to a 30% promotion. But one thing Libra has to also note, because Ketu is in the 11th house, okay? Jupiter is looking at the 2nd house, Scorpio. Do not waste food. Here, Libra will be in a vulnerable situation to order a lot of food, waste a lot of food. And if food is wasted, gains and savings get affected. And when food is wasted, you will see you will have cut from your social circles, network circles who are supposed to be helping you. And this is why I always tell people, especially with certain positions of Ketu and Venus, you should have dogs in your home. Why? Because especially, and not Ketu, sorry, sign of Scorpio, when it's placed in a certain way. Because when food is wasted, like you put a food in fridge because you made extra food. Next day, nobody eats it. Then 2 days later, you're like, oh, nobody's going to eat it. You throw it away. That's where Libra has to be very careful. Obviously this year, but naturally with or without Jupiter. Wastage of food create conflicts in the family, controversies in the person's life, draining of wealth, draining of social circles. So what happens is when you have food left over next day and you have dogs, guess what? They love it. They'll eat that food. So food is never going to waste. For Libra people, it's very important to have dogs in life. Couple of dogs. Although I always say if you're going to have big enough place, you should have 3 dogs. 3 dogs is somehow triggers something magically. But do not hoard food and waste food, because Libra people will also have this thing about hoarding food. Because in their past life, they did not receive so much food. But also you will see, because Jupiter is in the 10th house, Jupiter is the 6th lord of conflicts, your speech can create controversies, conspiracies. Just saying one sentence can create controversies and conspiracies. That's one end. Okay? And the other end is your speech actually can create your wealth. And the reason why we see this split, how speech can create controversies and wealth, is because the nakshatra of Vishaka is in the ascendant, which is naturally controlled by Jupiter. So Libra is always split in, should I take this side? Should I take that side? Should I believe in this person? Should I believe in that person? And they're like this always in internal conflict and external conflict. But and especially because Jupiter is now looking at the 2nd house, please, I don't know, I know you're on social media, whether you're a dumb teen who just always wants to show off, whether you're just ignorant to this fact, and maybe you're now watching my video, keep your wealth and numbers a secret. Don't be going out there and showing people with your selfie phone your mansion and home and your car, and I have this much and I made this much and this is where I'm investing. You're going to trigger draining of that wealth, draining of the things that you're showing. Libra people have to be the most secretive people related to their money and wealth. Don't even reveal it to your friends. Let it be. When you go into a conversation about what everybody else is doing, how everybody's opening this company, they got this promotion, they got this package, just be quiet. Just say, listen, I am, just working hard and paying my bills. You know how it goes. I hope I can just reach someday your guys' level, even though you actually are surpassed these people's level. And the way people should find out is if, fine, they come to your home and they suddenly say, oh my God, this is your home now? Oh, you moved? Where did you move? Well, I'll invite you guys and come see it. Don't say to everybody and your friends and all that, oh, I got a Mercedes G-Wagon. Let them just see you driving it. So Jupiter, which is a trick lord for a Libra, along with the Taurus ascendant, keep the speech secretive, keep your assets secretive, because here Jupiter is going to entice you to do those things. And why it becomes into conflict? Because the 4th lord and 5th lord, especially 4th lord of your storage, which is Saturn, is in the 6th house. And then Jupiter is also looking at it. So speech, be careful of your speech. But otherwise, you will see that Libra person gets a lot of guidance. Especially somebody from past can come and start giving you guidance related to your profession, related to your career. A lot of research will take place in your work. A lot of error picking will take place in your work, especially towards the end of this year. You'll be able to see things clearly like why am I dealing with this problem, what is happening, you'll be able to see those things. But like I said, with all zodiac signs, there's going to be this inner and exterior conflict. That is this really worth it? Is this really something that is giving me what I want? Because Libra is naturally the scales, right? And then Jupiter is trying to make the wisdom that it represents at the highest point, the apex point, the zenith, which is the 10th house. And Ketu, which is the absolute truth, beyond your own belief system, whatever the existence of truth is, that is Ketu, which is coming towards Jupiter. It will cut through all the things where there'll be this split for Libra, that do I really want to follow my career path and chase and this dog race and this rat race that I'm doing? Or should I now escape the matrix? Because naturally Saturn is in Pisces. Saturn is like, I want to be done with my karmas. Sure, many people won't be. But there will be this split of awakening that happens. Literally, you will see something I feel happens worldwide right around September, October, where people just be like, don't care anymore. There is this like, the flower child dancing in, Woodstock of the 1960s, where people just created that festival for music for freedom, just getting away from that rat race back then. Something I feel that can just awaken during this time. So now we're going to talk about Aquarius ascendant people. So for Aquarius, as you know, Jupiter's just entered the 6th house in Cancer, while Ketu's in the 7th house, okay? And Saturn is in the 2nd house. So obviously this is a period. There's going to be a lot of coldness, distance, separation, and desiring to be secluded and isolated in your marriage and partnership and relationship. Whether this can cause divorce, separation, for that we have to look at the actual horoscope. Okay? And obviously right now I have activated my Jupiter reading for 2026, especially just focusing on Jupiter. So you can obviously go to the link here on shop section. But yeah, this is one of those periods. You see, every single person, like I said, is going to be having a breakthrough. Okay. Wanting less responsibilities. Wanting to, because see, Ketu is microcosm. Ketu is shrinking. And when Jupiter, who's in the 6th house of responsibilities, all the burdens of the world, debts, health, the Aquarius people, okay, out of all the zodiac sign, will desire to take the most strongest step towards reevaluating their responsibilities in life, decreasing their responsibilities in life, naturally detaching themselves from people. Like you will see, especially the Aquarius person will not enjoy dealing with one-on-one connection with people. They just want to be left alone. And because Jupiter is, for Aquarius, 2nd and 11th lord of wealth and money, obviously in the 6th house, one thing we see, you will be able to increase your daily wealth and routines. Okay, because see, Jupiter is in the 6th house, which is the Upachya house. So no matter even if it's a transit, it slowly grows better with time for that 1 year, which is much quicker, obviously, because Jupiter is going to be literally within 4-5 months. It'll be in, Leo. But on the other hand, this will show that a person will feel the person that you trust the most to be your biggest support can suddenly from support can turn into your enemy. On the other hand, this Jupiter can suddenly give also an access to loans, access to big debts. But the thing is, you want to be careful. Depending on how your Ketu is in your birth chart, debts, taking on debts may not be good. Now, if you're getting a home loan, car loan, that's different. That is something that is a necessity, that is needed. But if you're thinking, well, I've got 2 restaurants running successfully, let me get a loan to expand to the 3rd location. Now, this is not something that is necessary. The only time a person likes to expand or wants to extend is why? Because they just simply want to make more money. That's what it is. And it's not something that, unless your 2 restaurants are barely making you pay your bills every month, then there's actually something wrong with the first 2 restaurants instead of you going towards the 3rd restaurant and opening that 3rd restaurant. Because I've seen people actually make these mistakes and then get a reading when they're like literally filing for bankruptcy or have filed for bankruptcy. So look at what debt you're about to take. Is it necessary? Is it just you just wanting to make from 1 million because you want to go from 1 million to 5 million? That is not an important debt to take, because you can easily live a comfortable life for that 1 million. Okay. And there will be celebrations in your maternal aunts and uncles' homes. But one thing you will see, the conflicts that you will deal with, especially with your social circles, network circles, will be over your belief systems. What you believe versus what they believe. And you become very direct, straightforward, and agitated. Like in this period, you become the most stubborn person to the point that you will let go of any and every relationship because of your principles, because of that stubbornness. And you will see the stubbornness becomes more alive from September onwards. But especially hard work, you probably would notice it today. From like yesterday, today onwards, you will see workload increases. But there is that optimism. There is that hopefulness. There is that great inspiration, because that is what Jupiter is. So even though the workload is increasing, at the same time, you feel inspired because of the work that you're getting. And on the other hand, because Jupiter is going to be looking at Saturn, so double transit is happening upon the 2nd house. So again, a very, very important point for a person to turn their wealth around, to turn their money around. But also, this is the time period where the complete focus could be, like I said, that a person wants to slow down their life, narrow down their, workload, so they can actually have just minimal amount of bills. Because Saturn is making a person into a miser. Saturn is making a person budget now. With especially Jupiter looking at Saturn in the 2nd house. Absolutely, now it's active where a person is like, I want to decrease this burden of bills, and I want to decrease my responsibility, yet still able to maintain my money. And Saturn being in the 2nd house, which is the Artha house. And because Jupiter is in the 6th house, which is the Artha house, this is why I said Dharma, Karma, Yoga of work, of duty, of commitment, of sacrifice is becoming active. Okay. Because Jupiter also looks at your 10th house, which is the sign of Scorpio, this is a great period to find that sudden change towards going from being unemployed to employed. Being, a nobody to serving somebody. But see, Jupiter is looking at the 10th house in Scorpio. And one thing I'm going to advise you here, do not waste food. You will see for Aquarius Ascendant people, when they waste food, their career gets impacted. Let's say you go to a buffet, you hoard a lot of food, because Jupiter is looking at Scorpio. And you'll eat 1 or 2 or 3 plates, but half a plate is just still left, and you just left it there. Okay, I'll pay and I'll go. And you don't realize how that's impacting your 10th house. So that's very, very important to understand this particular scenario of how one thing leads to another. And this is why, like I said, even in the beginning, that one should have dogs. For this purpose, you don't need to have 3 dogs. We're not trying to rectify your Ketu. Here, because Scorpio is your 10th house, when you have a dog, if you have food left over the next day, dogs love eating it. They'll chow it down within 10 seconds. So this way, the food is not being wasted. So even though you bought more food, you cooked more food, and it's not sitting there, and then it's not being thrown away after a week, the dog is loving it. So this way you don't deal with those particular issues, because you're going to create these issues because Jupiter from the 6th house in Cancer is looking at the 10th house of Scorpio. So only take the amount that you're willing to eat. Okay? So this is, and then also, because like I said, with Ketu in the 7th house moving towards Jupiter, right? And this is something, if your spouse has this, give them freedom, give them space, don't make arguments with them, don't engage in battles just because you feel alive, because this can be a very disastrous position if you push it. Knowing that you are watching this video and your spouse has this combination, tell them, why don't you go and be in the mountains on the weekends? Why don't you go fishing? You know, why don't you go to Rishikesh if you're in India? Spend time, go do some spiritual practices. Because again, you may not be feeling that detachment. The spouse is the one who's like, because they feel that their ego is being cut by you. Okay. And it's your Jupiter that is in the 6th house, exalted. And so now, you know, both of these are coming. And so in a way, I would actually say, you yourself should also spend time in solitude and isolation. The more separate these two, like husband and wife, are, you know, at least not even till November. I mean, this is going to be like even after when Jupiter goes towards Leo, because Ketu is simply moving back. So even though Jupiter is going to be retrograde, Ketu is just moving backwards, and then it's going to go. And this is why I always have said that, see, these are the reasons why, you know, if a person has space, person has that ability, they should always have 3 dogs in the home. So you don't deal with that intensity. Okay, because if you because again, Ketu will be, that 3 dogs will become the remedial measure for this particular transit. But I know, I get it. You can do it when you have an apartment, home. And like I said, remedies have to be very hard. Like the remedies are supposed to be just as important as the karmas that you may deal with. Now, in one way though, if certain planets are in the 7th house, this could be the timing of marriage. Because Ketu, instead of separating, can tie that knot. So of course we have to see the chart for that. Okay. So anyway, guys, this is my analysis of Jupiter for Aquarius Ascendant. And next, of course, is the Earth signs. And as always, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.